Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on today. My atmosphere may look a little different today because I'm in a different location, but I am so excited about today. If this is your first time joining us, or if you've been here before, just let us know where you're joining us from, who you are, so we can give you a shout out. Let me see if I can get my comments up here and rolling. We have an exciting show today. We have the beautiful accountability coach, entrepreneur with us on today, Jerrica Brumfield, and she's going to be talking to us about her do strategy and how she approach that she uses in order to turn her strengths and her weaknesses into strengths. So I'm so excited, y'all, about today. So we're going to go ahead and bring her on. Let me see if I can get some engagement. Make sure y'all like, share, tag some people on in. Tag at least 2 or 3 people on in. Let them know that we are live and that we have our special guest with us. Let's see. I'm looking for comments. Y'all know how I be with this live stuff. Like, I'm still working on it. But yeah, it can give me some problems sometimes. But thank y'all for joining. I know we are starting a little bit late. We had some issues we were trying to work out with the show and all this stuff. So we just roll with it. Like, that's just kind of what we do. We just learn how to just roll with the flow. And you have to. Like, you have to be flexible in doing what we do. So we're glad for those of you who came. Thank you so much for sharing. For those of you who have shared, thank you for those of you who are live with us. I'm getting ready to bring on Jerrica. Brumfield. Hi, Jerrica.
Hello, Dr. Tiffany. How are you?
Doing good. Are you guys able to hear her pretty good? Let me know if you are able to hear her.
Yes, we want to know if you all can hear us. Let us know down in the comments.
Some of the comments I may not be able to see. And there is a delay. So, okay, yes, good, awesome. We got some confirmation that you're able to hear us. All right, so Jerrica, thank you for coming on with us on today. Y'all, we were literally talking about this. What was last week? I think it was when we were talking about this. I was sharing with her about an opportunity that I had, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so nervous about it." And her, being the accountability coach, was like, "Well, why are you so nervous about it? It's like you prepared, you ready for this. You done did what you had to do in order to get to where you are. Why are you so nervous?" She's like, "Maybe you need to dig into that a little bit more. You need an offensive strategy." And I was like, "Oh, what?" First of all, I don't watch sports, so when she started talking about offensive strategy, I'm like, "What? Which side is that? Is that the side that scores? Is that the side that defends?" I don't know, but she broke it down in such a way that I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I need to go take out my pen and paper and actually dive deeper, a little bit deeper into this thing, so that I can take something that I've been struggling with and turn it around, so that I feel a little bit more prepared, or a lot more prepared, actually, to tackle that thing." So I was like, "We have got to do it live. Like, we have got to go live, because people need to hear about this defensive, offensive strategy that she'll tell us a little bit about today." So let me get my questions, y'all. I had to write out my questions. I usually don't. She was like, "You got questions?" I was like,
Questions.
I don't, but I can get you some questions. Okay. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, Jerrica.
All right, so hello everyone. I am Jerrica Brumfield, and I am an author. I am an accountability coach. This is just who I am every single day, accountability coach. I also am an entrepreneur, and so that's just a little bit about me. And we cannot forget, I am a child of God. I
That
think
part.
we always forget to put that in there and add that in there, but that's first and foremost, right? And so that is who I am.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, I've already shared what led me to say, "Okay, Jericho, we've got to let the people know about this." So we're talking about, like, how do you begin to turn your strengths into weaknesses? And if you were on with us yesterday, we talked about, like, being unequally yoked, and I left off with one of my final points in talking about, like, how important it is for you to know who you are and to know who God has called you to do before you get into a relationship. Because if you don't, you very well can start off that relationship being very unequally balanced inside of the relationship. And so I felt it very timely to come behind that and talk about, well, how do you begin to find yourself and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and what you like and all of these things, and even your cycles. There are sometimes, there are some people, let me back up. There are some people who will look at their lives and they know, okay, at this time every year, I seem to want to do this, or I'm doing this. And I find myself every time during this time of the year, or during this time of the month, or whatever your cycle is for you, that I'm repeating these cycles over and over. So I felt, oh God, oh goodness, this is the perfect time for us to talk about her strategy and how we can begin intercepting some of those cycles, those negative things, or some of those weaknesses in our lives, so that we can begin to build up on those things and become the people that we know that God has created for us to be, and that we know deep down in our hearts that we are. And so, Jericho, tell us a little bit about this strategy. How did you come up with that?
So I was one day on our 5 o'clock prayer line, and one of the lessons I gave was coming from the Peter. Be sober, be vigilant, because your devil, the adversary, is like a roaring lion. He's going around seeking whom he may devour. He have a strategy, he have a plan, just constantly seeking. And so it came to me that people, even just people of God, are usually on the defensive side and on the reactive side instead of the proactive side. And so I'm like, God, why are we always like, oh, the devil attacked me, now I have to try to do something? Why can't we be the one attacking and he running away, right? And so this came to me that morning, and so I just started kind of writing and getting stuff together, and more stuff still coming to me. And so that's how it came to me. Like, I'm tired of being on the defensive side, I'm tired of being on the reactive side. I need to be proactive. And so that's where this came in at.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about exactly how this works. Because, like, it's a whole strategy behind this, y'all. Y'all got to get that this is a whole strategy. So you may want to grab your pens and papers and take some notes as we're doing this. And if not, we do have a special surprise for those of you who are on and watching who want to actually implement this strategy. So we have a workbook or yeah, it is a workbook. She has a workbook that she's created just for you, that you can take the information, rewatch the video. If you're watching the replay, watch the video, download the notes that go along with this, and begin to implement this strategy in your life. So tell us how it works.
All right, I just want to say, Dr. Tiffany, I thank you. I am like honored to be on with the Dr. Tiffany, right? A mental health specialist. I'm just honored to even be on, and for you to pull this out of me. Now, this is something that I was like, well, no, I'm not gonna put it out. I'm not gonna even just speak on it. I did a little status on my Facebook, so I do want to thank you for being the one that said, no, you got to get this out. People need to hear this, and although I'm still perfecting it, and more revelation coming with it, thank you for even just trying to pull this out of me, even where I'm at. I understand that done is better than perfect, because perfect never gets done, which is something that I did learn. So
yes, that's good.
Thank you. So even with the do strategy, which is the defensive, offensive strategy, defensive, offensive method, when we look at, I would just say, when we look at basketball, football, some people know about basketball. I love basketball. I used to be a basketball player back in the day, point guard. And so when looking at the basketball and football, they have two sides. They have the offensive side, and then they have the defensive side. And right here, let's see if I kind of drew something out, you all. Please don't laugh at me, but I kind of drew something out. I'm not sure if you all could see, but we have our court. We're gonna have to get someone to help me with this, but we have the offensive side right here, and then we have the defensive side. Usually people end up or stay on this side, which is the defensive side, but we are trying to get here and stay here, right? And so getting on the offensive side, one of the ways to get on the offensive side in a game is when they flip the coin. So that's the first time at the first beginning of the game. So when we look at our life, we were actually on the offensive side in life until maybe, I'm not sure, a sin may happen, or maybe we fell into different traumas, or whatever the case may be, we failed. And so we were on the offensive side, and then we became on the defensive side. But how do we get that back, right? We get that back by interception. We see that the defensive side have had the ball. And so another way to be back on the offensive side is to steal the ball or to, intercept. So that's how we get back on that side. And I mean, I can keep going.
Keep going. No, keep going.
Even that part. But that's the first part. We want to see, how did we, I'm big on evaluation. How did I even get on the defensive side? How did I even get to the place of being constantly attacked? How did I get at the place of being at the bottom all the time? So now I need to evaluate that. So
That's good. That's good. Talk a little bit more about the evaluation part too, Jerrica, because of me, in our line of work as coaches and what we do, and we're always talking about awareness, and that evaluation piece is very similar to awareness. So, talk about what kind of things would you do during that evaluation piece? Like, how would you go about evaluating?
Well, evaluating, some people can't do it on their own, so you may need a coach or therapist, Dr. Tiffany, someone that can help you pull you back to, that place in the past. Because sometimes we can't even see to evaluate ourselves. But if you can, you want to just go back as far as you can. I usually try to at least get the last year, because some
That's
people
good.
can go back as far as back in 1965. Every time we do testimony service, we go all the way back to 1960 something. But we may not can go back that far, so try to go back a year and see where did maybe your cycle begin. So if you're having a financial, a relational cycle, you getting the same in, you having the same balance on your bank account. Where did this begin? So I need to sit in a quiet place to try to make myself think. Get rid of the distraction and write down every place that you have had cycles in your life. We have about 8 areas of life: financial, spiritual, mental, relational, these different areas.
Ooh,
and
that's
then
so good.
just go through and see, okay, my financial life, the past year, I've only had no more than $100 in my bank account. This year, I'm still at $105. So what's going on? And so that's how I will go back and evaluate. Take it section by section of your life, which means let's go spiritually, let's go mentally, let's go, and then evaluate like that.
Girl, listen. Did she just say something about 8 areas of your life? Now, I don't know if that went over somebody else's head, but I was like, 8 areas. You gotta evaluate eight areas. Tell us what those areas are, and if you are live and you're good with just kind of keeping notes, help us break down those areas, or help us type out those areas for people who will come back and look at this who may not catch it while we're writing. So type them out for somebody. Let us get some scribe, somebody out there that's really good at taking notes, and list out those areas for us, Jerrica, if you don't mind.
Yes. So I have to go back and look. I know spiritual, we have mental, we have relational, I think social, we have financial, physical, recreational. I think that could be even with the, and it could be a little bit more, but these are like main areas that you want to look at, definitely.
Those are so good. Those are so good. Does anybody get those? She said mental, physical, relational, financial, recreational. And this is my brain, y'all. That's about, I think that's where I stopped. What are some other ones? What were the other 3?
Then we do physical.
Physical. I think we
that out.
physical. Any more? What was the other 2? See, that's why I was like, we need a social,
relational,
yes, yes.
And then even with relational, we have friendships, intimate relationships. We have, parent relationships. So then we still got to break that down of cycles too. So yeah.
Yes, this is so good. So here's what we're gonna do, guys. We talked about, we have this workbook that we want to share with you guys. I'm gonna post a link real quick, and it may already be up. If you're on Facebook and you can see the link, please let us know. If not, I'm getting ready to post this link, and this is something that you can use as you go back and rewatch this, to use as a guide. Use as a guide. So Jerrica gave us this link. It's called the do strategy. It's the defensive and offensive. I absolutely love the approach. It's something that I am going to start implementing in my own life and probably with some of my own clients, because sometimes we just get stuck. Like we see the cycles, and we talk about these things all the time. Even when I'm live, like we see the cycles, we see the patterns in our life, the patterns in our family, the patterns in our generation. Like we see these patterns, but sometimes we don't necessarily know how we can go about breaking those patterns. And so this strategy will help you actually come face to face with, okay, what are my patterns? What are some things that I deal with over and over? Are there particular times where I find that these things are happening more time than others? Because sometimes, like I said, some of the stuff is every year. You may be trying to find what do they call it? Cuddle season. I think cuddle season comes up around the fall. Is it about that time? Okay, we're in cuddle season, and that's usually the time where people, especially people who are single, or even people who may be married and may not be getting their emotional or physical needs met in their relationship, they start looking for that comfort in other people. So if you know that is you, and certain times of the year I'm looking for a boo, like I don't even care if he the right one at this point, like it don't even matter. I just know that I get really lonely around this time of the year, and I don't want to be by myself, so I start compromising who I am and what I believe in, so that just for the comfort of someone else. This is an excellent strategy for you to begin to implementing in your life, so that you're not continuing those patterns. And I think Jerrica mentioned this, that accountability is a major part of that, because sometimes we can look at this stuff, we can do the right things, we can write the right things and have the right things in place, but if we don't have somebody holding us accountable, like we got to have people holding us accountable, so that we can begin implementing and that it actually sticks, that it maintains. And so y'all download this strategy, download the workbook, go back, rewatch the replay. We'll try to post a graphic of that she showed you guys earlier. Some of you may not have been able to see it, but we'll post a picture of that so that you can begin to see and maybe create your own offensive play. I'm a writer, so I like to write things out. Some people may like to draw, like she drew the graphic that she showed us. But whatever you do, you do what you need to do to get the help that you need. Okay, so Jerrica said a quote, and we're getting ready to go. She said a quote in the beginning that I wanted to comment on. She says, "Done is better than perfect, and perfect is what is it?
Never gets done.
Perfect never gets done. Perfect never." You repeat it, Jerrica, because I done messed it up.
Yes. So I got this from Mr. Derek Harper. Done is better than perfect, because perfect never gets done.
Perfect never gets done. So you have to start somewhere, and this is your start. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, I'm going to check the comments real quick for those of you who may have questions. And if you don't have questions that you want to say, because sometimes the questions that we have may be private and we don't want everyone to know our questions, that's fine. Send us a message. I have my books open for September for you to book accountability. Accountability is her. It's not me. I do relationships. And I particularly work with women who are healing and recovering from relationships. And I do have coaching slots that are available for September. But book a session, book a discovery call with either I or with Jerrica. Jerrica's accountability. She's the accountability person that will hold you accountable to what you put on your papers. Like, no, this is what you said on your paper. This is what you said you were going to do. And yes. So she is the accountability person. Jerrica, do you have any last thoughts?
Yes. So I do want to just say, as I looked up the word offensive, one of the definitions of offensive was to attack, assault, or have a strategic plan. And so in this time, as you be on your offensive side, you want to have a strategic plan so that you don't have to always be on the defensive side. Be proactive instead of reactive. The enemy is not always out to get you. Sometimes it's just lack of us just having that strategic plan.
That part.
And so make sure you get a strategic plan. Study what have been cycle after cycle, year after year, and so that you can have your strategic plan and stay on the offensive side. And that's all.
That's awesome. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much for joining us on today. Before you log off, make sure you hit that share button so that somebody can come back, watch this, download the workbook, and be ready to implement and make some real changes in their life as we approach the new year. I love you all. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for logging on. Thank you for interacting. And thank you so much for just being here. Thank you for your support. Bye, guys.
Have a good day.